I'm Etzion from Haifa, Israel. Today is the 18th of October, 2024. This is the 13th session for reading the book of Genesis. As usual, we start traditionally with a musical piece. hope you liked it.
Yeah, it was lovely.
This is a famous jazz piece by, we have an echo. I think it's from your telephone.
No,
I don't know.
you want me to put it off? I can put off the sound.
Okay.
Better?
No. I see you myself twice. It's nothing to do with you, maybe me. But don't hear it all the time. Never mind. Okay. It's okay, I think. This is a famous jazz piece by a British composer. I forgot his name, but they gave some, before the concert, somebody spoke, but it was hard to understand what he was saying. But the composer died 1944, drowned in the English Channel, if I'm not wrong.
Oh my God.
Very famous composer. Everyone. We'll go now. I hear echoes all the time. I don't know what this is. But I have no choice but to continue with this. Just I wanted to share that every Tuesday at 3 afternoon EST, we have a free Baba Zoom meeting. And if people who attend these meetings want to come and ask questions or participate, because now it's 3 in the morning EST, don't expect anyone to come in such an hour. Another, sometimes I would like to comment over issues I can see with the Baba community. First, the musical piece represents what I call the spiritual circles, the situation where a few individuals, even they are not centered on the divine, they work together with complete harmony, otherwise there's no music. And this is a basic foundation stone for healing humanity. And unfortunately,
would that be instead of Thursday?
No, I spoke about, no, Thursday. Sorry, I apologize. We have a meeting on Thursday. It's 3 afternoon Eastern time, 10 in the evening Israel time. It's convenient for both sides to come to share. I was hoping the Israelis would show up today and that time, but it is whatever it is. I personally...
That's like the one where Susan came, right?
Yeah, yes. When she came on Thursday evening. So I'll continue with this as long as here and there somebody wants to come and share something individually. Also, people who are interested with these meetings, they want to ask me questions about
Sure.
what is being projected. They can ask for a private session if they want in different hours. It's okay. So I'm just offering it. So we'll continue reading the book of Genesis. This is where we stopped last week. This is a story that we humans, we lived in the paradise of God under the custody of the beloved. And then, for whatever reason, the garden was shattered. We shattered it. We did whatever we did. We attempted to make changes. The whole thing fell apart. And all this is an allegory, or this story. It's a very nice story, but what is the truth behind it? From the psychological point of view, of us. You will try to understand what is behind the story. The serpent talking to the woman. Serpent, we read it last time. Serpent was the shrewdest being in the creation. He is causing temptations. He's as if a negative force for the creation. And we are going to understand how come there is such a thing in the body of universal love and the oneness, etc. What is behind all this? The serpent whispers from within man, should be a person because it is not exactly male, to the waking consciousness that there are many possibilities to enjoy life. Here, the woman symbolizes the system of emotions that percolate internally. I want to emphasize that it does not refer to a woman in the accepted sense of the word, a lady wearing a skirt. We are looking here at the feminine aspect of the complete spiritual essence called a whole person. In the perfect human being, the principle of male and female is united. The process of the division of the souls in the creation, the process of breaking up oneness to manyness, another step was creating male and female separated. And this helps to regain oneness when we get together, getting married, creating a family. It's a step for creating union, going back to the union, stage by stage. And the woman said to the serpent, from the fruit of the garden tree we shall eat. And from the fruit of the tree which in the garden God said, you shall not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you will die. Here is described the process of the dissolution of the united body of humankind. Now we're dealing with death. Till then, there was no death. And we'll study what death means. What is death? We see that everything that exists from the tiniest particles we can detect is constantly mating and separating. Shapes are built and disintegrated, and their components are preserved forever. All bodies decompose, and their components, after a period of disintegration, serve as building blocks for new bodies. The role of bodies is to allow the mind to act. The assumption here that consciousness already resides in the tiniest particles and is not the result of chemical activity in the brain. Consciousness is a result of movement which generates sound. Sound is actually the appearance of consciousness. As soon as we enter the creation, we started to move. As soon as we started to move, we created a sound. We started to sing. And these sounds create consciousness. How we communicate? By sounds. However, sounds are images. But this capability we lost. The highest beings of the universe, they communicate in a very different way than we do. It is by images. When you see a picture, when you see the face of the beloved, it tells you tales. If you know how to look at the face of the Lord, you will understand the whole essences of creation. The sages of the Torah speak all along about the immortality of the soul and it being born again. There is a permanent center of consciousness within us that is returning and manifesting on earth. The higher self is never destroyed. There is no culture on earth that does not see continuation after the disintegration of the physical body. We will treat this as an axiom that cannot be scientifically proven. But science deals with physical creation. And here we are dealing with an essence beyond physical creation. So science can never prove it, but each person can prove it for himself, individually, or herself, of course. The mechanism that allows the center to develop and manifest on Earth finishes its function, and its components are used to build such new mechanisms. In fact, in all ancient human cultures, people knew that this is how things are. In the opinion of modern man, that only matter and life exists once is something new in human history. People have never felt this way. The Torah does not speak directly of the soul remaining and being reborn, because these were clear facts for every person. The Torah doesn't say that the sky is blue and the earth is brown and the vegetation is green and this and that, because this was in a way obvious. It gives only basic descriptions. The problem is that people do not understand the purpose of life. This is a problem that has existed since the dawn of human existence. A very limited number of people have deciphered the raison d'etre of human existence, and the rest of the masses of individuals who are compelled by the pull of desires for instant gratification do not see this. Since man with limited intellect does not see that there is justice in the world, rejects the idea of the existence of an infinite intelligence that guides the processes of creation and operates by virtue of absolute justice. This opinion stems mainly from the fact that those bodies that purport to represent the same infinite consciousness are almost all engaged in self-aggrandizement, constantly provoking conflicts between people in order to establish power over the masses. Divide and rule. Wherein lies another problem, which we may discuss later. There is no death of the center of consciousness. It is an axiom, in fact. Those who reject this, as a matter of fact, would better discard this article and live their short, meaningless lives. This is the free will that is possible in creation. Clearly, this is a destructive approach. And today, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that humanity is rushing to the edge of the abyss. It is this choice that has triggered the current crisis. Let's look at the atom, the basic building block known to science, from which all the forms that exist in nature are built. What is it made of? It consists of particles circling around a center. We now know that this initial unit can be shattered. What seems to be happening is that the inner circuits are falling apart. Of course, there is no scientific statement here. I have no such pretension. It's food for thought. However, the disintegration of an atom is actually the death of the individual known as an atom. Theoretically, each atom can be identified as a unique individual and even given a name. Life is actually circular motion. When that movement stops, life actually ceases to be, at least in the physical world. Everything that exists represents circular motion. That's how all stellar system and everything living on Earth are built. Our internal systems are constantly flowing in circles. Air is inhaled into the lungs and exhaled. Food enters the system and its residues are emitted. Blood flows in circles throughout the body. All organs are interconnected in a circular way. All the kingdoms in creation operate in cycles. The atomic circuits form molecular circles. These form mineral circles, and the minerals form the basis for the formation of plant circles. On plants, animals can exist and act. We see that everything that exists is mutually interdependent. What is a person really? It consists of several circles. The first is a physical body, all of whose components are made up of interlocking circles. In addition, the circles of sensations, the circles of mental activities, the circles of human intellect and thought. But above all these, there is a hidden spiritual focus that turns a person who looks like a sophisticated animal into something of a completely different quality from what exists in creation. Human beings are supposed to serve at the top of this hierarchy, operating in perfect circles that generate energies through which the processes of creation are being directed and enhanced. Human society is made up of such circles, a society that strives to act perfectly and harmoniously must operate in human circles, in which the members of the circles work in full cooperation. The members of such a group have a broader consciousness than the individual consciousness of each individual, who stands on his own. The dissolution of the group is in fact the death of the level of consciousness that the group represents. We can see that any successful system must operate in cooperation between all components. In society today, this cooperation is coerced. Force or participants in the activity are compensated with wages. Otherwise, they will not work. This is what is hidden in this ancient story, which seems so childish from first reading. But hidden here is the principle of the secret of proper human existence on earth. And this is the reason why I start each session in a musical piece. Here you can see a group of individuals working with perfect accord. You hear only one sound of the music. The combined sounds create one sound, and this one sound I cannot create with my own personal musical piece. I can make my own personal sound. This cannot create the symphony. And this is a hint for us humans how to heal humanity. We broke these circles. The story of the Garden in Eden tells us that we broke these circles and created death on earth. And all the turmoil is due to this. All attempts to redeem humanity back to this state have failed. When such a human circle functions perfectly, or at least when the members know that they must settle their differences in brotherhood, life will work properly. However, as soon as one of the members of the circle begins to criticize the person in front of him in the circle, whose role is to represent an opposite or different perception according to his limited ability to understand, this circle will fall apart. The broad vision created by the members of the united circle will die. and the continuation of human existence will turn into hell. The spiritual circle cannot be coerced. The spirit opposes anything that is coercive. Coercion belongs to the consciousness of Cain. We are going to deal soon with the consciousness of Cain and Hevel. We are engaged in rehabilitating the consciousness of Hevel, in which the term coercion does not exist. Spiritual circle cannot operate because members of the circle have been instructed to work together, just as a group of people is forced to act as a military unit. Their discipline is external rather than internal. People work together out of existential anxiety and fear of punishment rather than love. Death, in fact, is a process of disintegration of the broad group consciousness. Using knowledge partially causes damage. The consciousness of earthly human beings is not comprehensive enough to examine the whole spectrum of factors that influence something we want to create. We are unable to examine the implications of this for a long period of time, beyond a limited course of man's life. This requires the integration of human systems that work harmoniously under the guidance of superconscious human beings, the leaders of humanity, which I called on the sixth day of creation, Yahweh Elohim, the fraternity of the perfect masters. And we all humans are being invited to join this fraternity. We don't need to reach perfection in order to achieve this, but we have to learn to work under their guidance, to recreate the spiritual circles. Then we'll have a broader understanding. Now, why science cannot prove all these things? Because they don't have a laboratory working the past 10,000 years to bring all the essences, all the facts. And you cannot say it, or science is only 400 years old, modern science at least. And the true science, the spiritual science, the masters, they have the vision to see the movement of the souls, and then they see what's happening in the past 10,000 years and its implications, and they see everything from the very first inception of individual beings in the creation, supposedly 13 billion years ago. Science can never achieve such a state. And as long as we don't understand the role of the perfect masters and the fraternity of the masters, we'll never be able to heal humanity. Death is the collapse of an operational circle. Now we are being warned that if we do something, death will appear. But death didn't exist. How can you warn someone from something that doesn't exist? For sure, if you will warn somebody from something which doesn't exist, for sure he's going to do it because he wants to find out. That's why he's a human being. So all this collapse, in a way, was inevitable, in a way. It was part of the design, but it shouldn't go, to my understanding, so badly. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat. And she gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now we can ask a question. Where is the spiritual hierarchy which allows the deceiver to deceive humanity and cause a fall and they don't interfere till now due to our free will. Free will is key principle, and we don't always understand it. Human being makes decisions without having the capability of examining all the data fully and objectively. He is able to do things that seem good, but he is unable to see their long-term consequences. We can see it in the world that we developed machinery, developed engine based on coal, and it produces CO2, and the residue destroys the planet. But the people who invented it, they didn't know it. But eventually, we find out. So in the beginning, it seems very good, and now we see that we have a serious problem. Whenever humans try to improve their situation, while acting without the guidance of superconscious humans, millions of years of balance is disturbed, and the human mind, unable to see the whole picture, makes wrong decisions. Man operates independently of the higher knowledge, which is currently in the hands of superconscious humans, represented by the being we now call Yehovah Elohim, which are also called the fraternity of the perfect masters. The Yehovah Elohim is the answer for the ancient question, who we are and why we are. It solves the mystery of creation, the union of the individuals with God consciousness. And we are all invited to. Any action carried out without the accompaniment of higher knowledge is doomed to failure and disastrous consequences. This is the death described here. The mind of the ordinary person is limited. It is actually the plan of creation to renew the unity of being. We must work in cooperation. Only through teamwork done in brotherhood can we transcend limitations. So we'll read a little bit longer, at least to accomplish this scene, that the tree was to be desired to make one wise. A tree is actually an upside-down person with its head in the ground and its feet up. The tree is nice and full of knowledge. What's hidden here? We eat the fruit of an inverted being, and that being is nice and attractive. Later in the evolution of consciousness, the tree turns until it reaches a stage where it stands on its feet in human form. And when a person continues his spiritual evolution, he would reach a stage where he is nice and educated. He tells this is a typically biblical phrase which describes the entire process of creation. By eating the tree, by touching the process of creation, the tree is not a finished product. It doesn't have a full knowledge. It's a process of understanding. In the middle of the process of understanding, we took something, a state of understanding which is not complete, and we're trying to impose it on the creation. That's most likely the meaning of eating a fruit from a tree. We should eat the fruit of the perfect masters. Then their eyes, then open their eyes and know that they are naked. Their eyes were opened. They reached a state of consciousness that did not exist before. It was the first time they had done anything wrong. And it was the first time they had experienced the backlash to their actions. the law of karma works. People realize that their actions are wrong and they are filled with guilt. Guilt is actually evidence of a person's inner state, naked from their spiritual status. They try to hide the consequences of their actions, but this is not possible. Man must look face to face with everything he does, good or bad, learn and draw conclusions. People decided to run away from responsibility and place the blame on each other. What is this condition described as nudity? The person who broke the spiritual circles is naked from the same state of consciousness. The spiritual coat that surrounds him is torn, and he sinks into his low animal self. He feels ashamed and tries to sew himself an artificial garment made from the plant world. Man actually falls down and descends from his spiritual status and needs the help of the worlds that are actually below him hierarchically, which he was supposed to serve and elevate. I think we'll continue with this next time. The story really touches deeply the whole story of what's going on today. It's not some old myth. There are deep lessons which we better look at them today. Being naked, also we were exposed to our hidden sanskars. When we started to descend instead of ascend, we started to create negative, destructive sanskaras being stored in subconscious mind, in the Garden of Eden state of consciousness. Sanskars are being almost automatically erased. And as soon as we destroy this mechanism of destroying sanskars in a natural way, we became slaves to our subconscious minds. So I'll stop the sharing. It's quite a powerful material, right? It really brings to light all the legends and myths that people don't understand it. When you read even what the sages say about, they don't say anything like what is being presented here. All kinds of stories about the snake and what happened to this, and the Lord God came and punished humanity and kicked us off the garden. Sounds very childish, but this is a state of consciousness from 3,000 years ago. But what we're facing here is that this theme of creation that the entire God speaks is latent in the book of Genesis. And this is what we have been trying to explain here. So this discussion. And it seems that people are still watching these talks between 30 to 100 or whatever it is. And as long as people are watching it, will continue. And if even nobody will watch it, will continue. But that's what I received the impulse from his Lordness. So that's what he wants. We'll continue with this as long as we can. So I wanted to say again that on Thursdays, 3 afternoon EST, we have a free discussion. And if somebody wants a private audition or wants to talk privately with me about all these issues, they can find my email on the directory or get it from Angela or somebody else. And we can set a time or exchange ideas through the emails, whatsoever you feel like. Thank you very much, all of you. I'll stop now.
Thank you, Etzion.